Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to On the Mic. It's Mike King here. This is part of the Mike King Biz Media Network, ESPN Richmond 106.157 AM, International Business Group Radio, Saturdays 10 a.m. in the East, as well as CW Richmond TV, where we broadcast and showcase the best and the brightest that RVA and beyond has to offer. This time we reach all the way across the country. It sort of comes to us to our good friend Nicole Reed, the queen of RVA real estate, out there who does things in a very big way. She has moved into TV, and what she has dropped here on the RVA market is amazing. So I got my man Craig Soren here. Welcome to the program, sir.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Alrighty, so tell us who you are and what you do.
Oh, wow. So I'm the CEO of American Dream Media, a national media company that creates real shows, not reality shows, centered in real estate. So I think, if we're, consumers listening to a program like this, and we said something along the lines of real estate TV, we might think of things like reality TV. There's the $1 Million Listing and Chip and Joanna and Fix and Flip and these HGTV shows. 80 TV us versus HGTV. HGTV creates reality TV. 80 TV creates real shows with real professionals all across the country and somewhere around 100 markets with about, 1,000 professionals or so. And it airs on national networks like the Travel Channel, the digital networks, gets millions of views in social. So I'm the creator of that thing. And ultimately, that's led me to be the CEO of American Dream Media, which is the company that produces it and continues to create it and grow it in markets all across the country.
Let me ask you, what was the vision behind starting that? And what was it about real estate that really lended itself to showcasing that?
So when I was 21 years old, I worked in New York City for MTV when they used to actually play music, not so much.
Back in the day.
Yeah, I got into real estate and mortgage at 21 and a half. I'm originally from Missouri. So I went back to Missouri, dead broke, 21 years old, and I tripped and stumbled into the real estate and mortgage business and did pretty well there. It was a different time, different environment, and led me out to San Diego, which is where I am today. And in 2009, actually very similar to you, Mike, I had a unique opportunity to be the host of a radio show. And so I did. And I was inherently, I was an introvert, never did public speaking. In fact, I hated it, but I thought it was a good thing to play around with. And we did. We had some fun. And my weekend show went to a daily show. My daily show went into a opportunity for a TV show in 2013. So it started here in San Diego. And the way that we built it is, well, we didn't, in media, advertisers pay for views. They pay for listeners. They pay for audience. We didn't have any. And it's because we weren't very good. And so we kind of figured out a way to create the content that was meaningful to our guests. And at that time, social media was starting to kind of snowball a bit. And we found our way into those mediums to be able to grow that viewership. And ultimately, we started American Dream TV in 2013 right here in San Diego. And when we realized we had something that really could be a model that could be duplicated into other markets and scaled, we went into Salt Lake City. We then went into Denver. And 52 cities later, we just did this show in different cities. And COVID changed a lot of things of what we did, so we had to take a step backwards. But since the last 3-4 years, where COVID has kind of settled down a bit, we've been off to the races, growing shows, growing markets. But it really, I always had a passion for media, good media, positive media, when the world needed it then, and it really needs it now. And I liked that. I liked interviewing. I liked storytelling, and I guess real estate was just the niche that I had kind of become an expert in. And so those two worlds really came together, and that somehow was a messy way of explaining the conception of American Dream.
When you look at the agents across the country, people who come to you, what's the common thread that you see?
They're the best professionals in their market. So, and that's intentional. So in each market, we choose top realtors and even mortgage. We have a show called Financing the American Dream that's been on the Travel Channel, CNBC, Bloomberg TV. We're very intentional on reaching out to those who are the best at the profession. Now, I always say that you could be the number one real estate professional in a market and a jerk. We wouldn't want you on our show. You could be brand new to the business and the nicest guy in the world. We probably wouldn't either because you need more experience. So I always say, would I refer my mom to you? If I was going to refer my mom, who still lives in the house I was raised in, you would have to have experience. You'd have to be likable, a good human being, a good professional. And that might make sense for me to refer my mom to you, and it might make sense for me to have you on our show. So there's a vetting process. So usually the common thread is it's the best in the business in those markets.
On the Mike King here, ESPN Richmond 106.1. That's where you find us. Craig Sewing, The American Dream. Okay, so when we talk about real estate right now, that is generational wealth, all those things. You're using the power of the media. Explain to people who really don't get it what the media can do for a business owner, regardless of whether it's real estate or whatever business you're in.
Well, Gary Vee said it best. You are a media company, professional. And when you're talking about real estate, I mean, that couldn't be more true, right? To be successful in real estate, sure, you got to read contracts and get good at negotiating, but you got to get good at marketing. That's how you grow your business, and it's how you sell homes, right? You have to market homes. And so media is critically important. Now, traditionally speaking, there are things like TV and cable and AM radio, print, magazine. Modern day media's changed. The landscape's changed. There's this thing called social media, which we all probably have a love-hate relationship with. Social media, I have a problem with it in many ways. But contextually, we got to start calling it the internet. This is where people go for information. So if you're a professional, your brand lives online, and social media creates the opportunity to have relationships at scale. So it's just a new world, and it's disrupting everything. I mean, you look at mainstream news, CNN, Fox News, MSNBC. I don't really care what side of the political spectrum you're on. Those mediums are dying. People are tired of being lied to. They're tired of sound bites and sensationalism and manufactured news. Whereas, social media and podcasting and things like this give people the opportunity to get information at their fingertips, to watch it when they want to engage in longer conversation. And I really do think that there's a pendulum swing happening on the way it used to be versus the way it is now. And that disruption creates a lot of opportunity.
Well, Mike Craig Sewing here. How can people get information out about the American Dream?
Oh, well, I would say, so we're talking on social media. Why don't we start there? If you wanted to follow the American Dream TV, personally, I like our Instagram handle. I think it's kind of a cool,
Yes, it is.
it shows a lot of cool content that we do. So the handle is at the American Dream TV. My personal handle is at Craig Sewing Media, spelled like a sewing machine, at Craig Sewing Media. So those two handles, at the American Dream TV and at Craig Sewing Media, I think is a good place to start. And you start there, you'll find your way around and figure it out if you like what you see. But what I'll tell you, Mike, it's the reason people like it is it's positive media. It's positive media niched in our neighborhoods. The stories that we share, look, we live places for a reason, right? You're in Richmond. I'm sure there's reasons you live there, and same with your neighbors, right? You have that in common. I live in San Diego. There's a reason we live here, and there's a reason people live in small towns and big cities. It's really what is their flavor of life, I guess. And so I think the reason people really like our show is we share the stories as to why, and we do it in a very positive way. So when the media makes its money on negativity and sensationalism, we kind of go against the grain of that and share positive stories on why people love our neighborhoods and why this is a great country, despite how some people might make us think otherwise.
One of the things I always tell people is business. I call mine business-ish. It's the things that hold businesses together. It is business showcasing how society can be better. There are people out there who are giving the X and O's of the market. This is not it. We're here talking about all the things that, whether it is a group donating, recliners to people who have mastectomies, to kids, sporting events, political people, whoever comes on the program, explain to us how what you do or the organization that you're with helps society be better. Very quickly, so a person has a dream who's out there They think they have something, but they're not really sure. What's some advice for them to take the next step?
Well, look, let's recognize that this is one of the greatest eras to live. I know that the country's politically divided. I know that it's a tricky time. It's a tricky time to navigate, but there's a reason that millions of people went into this country, not out of it. And I think the entrepreneurial spirit of this country still lives. And so, if you have a dream, whatever that might be, first of all, I think the first step you take is figuring out what that is. And the easy thing to say is, we'll chase the dream and burn the bridge and take the island. But it's not always that easy, right? I mean, sometimes we got to work that 9 to 5 to pay the bills, and we got families to feed. So I think progress is so important. If I'm giving like the realest answer I can, for me, you got to be in the best mind space possible. You got to take care of yourself first. And there's a reason I'm saying that. You're gonna get hit with adversity in life. You're gonna get hit with adversity today. You got to be in the best possible mind space every day, so that when you approach your day, good or bad, you're the best version of yourself. For me, that means getting up early. That means working out. That means meditation. That means I cold plunge every single day, including this morning, which I know sounds crazy, but until you try it and get in the habit of it, it's one of the greatest personal life hacks that exists. I do all of that to look at my business and my dreams as like a Navy SEAL approaching their business. And so I think you got to get in the best possible mindset every day to be positive and inspired to do you. And then I think you just have to make sure you make progress. A lot of times I think when you say things like dream, we become a society where everybody wants a shortcut. There are no shortcuts. There's not. And there's no path that doesn't have failures or loss, or it's not going to make you second guess it every day. So being in the best possible mindset is going to help with that. And then making progress. How do you eat an elephant? You eat it one bite at a time. You got to take one step at a time here. And that step might just be to set up your LLC. It might be to start doing some homework outside of your regular work hours and watching YouTube videos, or gosh, this thing, Chat GPT, using it to create business plans. Whatever it is, make progress, fail forward. And not everybody has the luxury, just give up their day job to go do it. Make it a side hustle until it becomes a real thing. I mean, quite frankly, Mike, I just shared my backgrounds in real estate and mortgage. It wasn't in being a radio host and a TV host and then ultimately the CEO of this company. I was a mortgage professional, but I started doing this radio thing on the side, and it started to grow. And then one day that train was moving as fast as the other one, and I jumped ship. I jumped to the other train and I abandoned the other one. And so, maybe it's just make progress, be in the best possible mindset you can, take care of yourself, lead with good intentions, and make progress.
When we out there, this is a getaway question. We're out there. We always work on our brand. When was it that you knew your brand? You had something there when people started to recognize it. You're like, hey, hey, we saw your brand, and there was something there.
Well, I think it's an everyday thing, right? I think it's an ongoing thing. I don't think we've solved for it. I think there's just every day. I always look at your brand as, what do people say about you when you're not around? And look, in the beginning, this is a very entrepreneurial model. And when you're an entrepreneur or you're doing something new or starting a business, there is no manual. And so you're going to make a lot of mistakes, and that's going to hurt your brand. And so I just think the best thing you can do is just keep moving forward. And for us, there was never this intentional, let's go get a PR company and blow up our brand, or spend this money digitally and blow up our brand, which there's a lot of phoniness out there that does those types of things. I think for us, the brand has been one long marathon of one day at a time, doing the right thing, treating others well, picking ourselves up after making a mistake, learning from our failures. And if you do that long enough and you treat people well enough and you lead with good intentions, I think over time, brand is not something you accomplish overnight. It's something that takes time. And yeah, you can do some things like, I mean, here's a real takeaway from it, something that's more tactical. Like if I'm a professional, look, people are living on these things, right? These phones. And we were talking about social media, but what about YouTube and Vimeo and LinkedIn? These are free mediums. And I think in a world where so much stuff is manufactured, being real is the most important thing you can do. And so taking out this phone and doing a little video of why you're passionate about something and posting that on YouTube and sharing that to your sphere, you can do that right now. And people are a lot more attracted to, I believe, authenticity than they are something super well polished. Now, keep in mind, I produce well polished TV shows that have
Yes, you do.
been nominated for an Emmy and won Telly Awards, and yet I'm still giving the advice here that you got to put yourself out there. You got to be okay with who you are and not be shy about it. Not let modesty get in the way of your marketing, which modesty is a great quality. But you got to get out, you got to share your story. And in today's world, there's a lot of mediums to do that. And it starts, you could use your iPhone to create a video today about why you're passionate about something. And you could post that on Facebook or YouTube today, right now. And I think people are really attracted about that. They're very attracted to real right now more than ever because there's so much fake out there.
Greg Sewing dropping nuggets of knowledge on us. So you said, now this is a takeaway for me. Don't let modesty get in the way of your marketing. You got to go for it. On the mic with Mike, we'd like to thank you now. Hello, hello.
Yep.
There you go. All right, so one last time, how can people catch up with you, sir?
Instagram's great. At Craig Sewing Media. I'd love to see you there. DM me. Let me know if you liked anything here. And it's always good to have engagement there. So at Craig Sewing Media, sewing like a sewing machine.
So you put out some outstanding content. We'd like to thank you for your time on the Mike and Mike RV's Best Business Radio program. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Now take care.
Thank you, Mike.